Righto, we're into it. We're going to start with the JB and we're going to organise the parts into their assigned build order. So all the tender parts in one bag, all the parts of the cab in another bag, so on and so on. So now we have to go through each bag and pick out what's what and what's going where. Right, so because I've built quite a few of these kits already, especially J's. I think this will be the sixth J class I've built, so kind of know which each part is and where it goes and what it's for. So cab, so on and so on. Can you see those ones here? So they're the two pinpoint bearings that will go for the rear pony truck on the locomotive, and those are the other four what will be for the front bogie. But we're only going to do the tender ones today because we'll start on the tender. I would have liked to have started on the chassis, but we don't have horn blocks, so we have to come back to it. So those are going to go into a separate bag. Toothpicks supplied in the kit, so you use these for when you're gluing in or soldering in nuts, so they protect the threads. So we're going to drop those in there as well. Now we get to pick out our wheels. Now you'd think, surely all the wheels are the same. Well, no, they're not. And I'll show you why. Because in this kit, the rear bogie wheel, or the rear pony wheel on the J, which is that one there, is bigger than your other ones. So that one's a lot bigger than the other ones. Right, so now we have our wheels for our locomotive bogies. There's always a method to the madness. The other thing I'll do is, while we're here, we'll put that in there with the tank lids. Because that and that is going to be separate from the main body, so we're not going to glue, well, we're not going to mount the main body permanently to the tender chassis. That way it's easy, it can just come apart, put your sound decoders and whatnot and all your electrical equipment in the tender if you wanted to. It just makes it easier for access, because once you get all the cross members and everything under there, it's going to be very hard to get inside of the tender, if that makes sense. The other thing we're going to do as we start putting things together is making sure things go together square and make sure everything's flush, so you don't end up with gaps like that or something in your parts. Make sure everything is tight and everything fits perfectly. Clean up bits of this and that with the file and the bits that you need to, but the most important thing is test fit, test fit, test fit. So even with all the toolbox section on the It's making sure you get a nice clean fit You see that? It's not a clean fit. So we will have to straighten out that casting because it's actually got a bit of a concave in it. You see that? Like that. Right across here. So that'll need tweaking. But anyway, we'll get these parts just put aside out of the way a little bit. So that's those ones. And then these are just folded stretchers. So we just separate them like so, and then we just cut off the little tags. I also like to run a little file over them just to clean them up a little bit. So yeah, that one next. And get these all mounted together and then put the wheels in. And then that's our bogey's done. And the good thing about these is you see that crease in the middle, that's your fold line. And all you have to do is just fold it 90 degrees. Just like that. 90 degrees. Because that's where these mount to. Just like that. So they'll go into that on both sides, and then you're basically just soldering the inside, or gluing the inside. I mean, the models are built to be put together with either glues or solder, so but we'll get a little bit of flux onto those and we'll get them strengthened up with a bit of solder. That one will work. So I've got a little bit of flux here, a little drop in the join, put that in there. So you guys can see that. We'll try and keep my fat fingers out of view. Just move it to the side there a little bit, and we're just going to run a little bit of solder in there. Same with the other side. Done. Righto. Right, so now we'll take our first bogey there. It's kind of a bit hard, isn't it, from that angle, for you guys to see what's going on, so I don't know, I think I have to work out a better position for the camera rather than sort of slammed in the vise. Right, other side. I'm going to turn it upside down. I'm going to drop our wheels in. One side's nice and loose, Oh, why didn't that kick? Did that time? Hey, whoa. Righto. Some good stuff. We'll just set that to the side now. We'll do the next one. A lot of guys prefer to do the bogies with compensation or equalisation. I prefer to actually fix mine in place. But there we go, there's our 2 bogies. Done. Right. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a little bit out of this. So that's just out of that face plate for the tender. We're going to take a little bit out of that. And test for fit again. Still a little bit of a gap down here. Other side's pretty good. Make sure you get that mounted nice and square. And basically just put that aside to dry. Put those out of the way. Righto, so on the sides of these we've got several little pot marks for handrails. So what we've got is basically that bit on there. That bit slots into the front against that. Lines all up the side of the tender, and basically we just put all that together. Now with these, I prefer to use low melt solder once you know they're square, and I find sometimes the easiest way is to do that is to tack the corners, just the corners, with a dot of super glue, flux it and solder it. But I'm still waiting on my low melt solder, so what we're going to do is we're going to super glue the corners, but we're going to use quick set epoxy and epoxy that. Modern glues are amazing things. Your models don't fall apart after 30, 40 years. So yeah, that'll look alright. Righto. I need a and just secure that with a little dot. Like so, and then we'll square it up. But that and that should sit right there like that. Right, so while we wait for the tender body to sort of tack off, we'll make a start on the chassis. Make sure that looks nice and square. Yep. Oh, do we not have good fitment? Right, I'll give you guys a different angle now, just while we're stopped here, so with test fitting and things. So we've got our brake pump and everything there. We've got the pocket on the side, toolbox on the other side. We're then going to go through and fit all the cross members. These ones here go at the back section here, because I've got the drop in them, which allows the tender vat space to sit down almost on those. And the one thing I didn't separate out of the sprues were the supports for the vat, which sit on the top side of the bogey spaces here. So they just go on like that. With the screw and the spring, and that sort of gives them a little bit of the ability to sort of have a bit of a play on rough track, and it also keeps the tender balanced, because there's a lot of white metal in that, so the tender is probably the heaviest part of the whole locomotive build, because the cab's mainly white metal and the front's a little bit of white metal on actually quite a bit of white metal in the J fronts, and the chassis is just etched, so most of the weight's in the tender. I would have liked to have seen these done in brass, but I suppose it was all to keep the cost down when they first manufactured them. Kit price relatively hasn't changed. I think when these kits first came out they were $5.95, and then after a few years they went to $600, then $650, and now I think they're at $675, I think, or $675 with shipping, or New Zealand shipping anyway. But yeah, we're slowly getting there. But I'll reposition and carry on. Sometimes it's hard to get motivated. It's a very muggy day today. It was nice and cool in the shed earlier, but now it's starting to wear on me a bit. Let's fix that pocket in place. So, oh yeah, that's a nice fitment, that is. I like that, that's good. We're going to drill out for the hooks and chains in the rear headstock. Now we're going to put our nuts on the bolsters, glue them in, and then we can start putting in the cross members and everything on the inside of the chassis. Right, we put our nuts in a bag. Where are they? We put them in that bag that got put in there. Actually, we'll have that one out. There they are there. So they're in that bag there. Then all we'll need is our toothpicks. The toothpicks went into one of these bags. So we cut it in half. Just like that. And that'll protect the nuts from getting any glue in them. So we just put that there like that. For the air hose yet, but we will go ahead and mount that. So let's get a lid to mix up some Aerodite on. A piece of card will do the trick. And now I need, we'll use the back side of this old brush to give it a good mix. And we don't want to use too much of it, so pull out this piece of wire. And we'll just lay some in there. So we cut it in half. Just like that. And that'll protect the nuts from getting any glue in them. So we just put that there like that. Oh no, that's working. Right. So we're just doing our cross members on the chassis now. So these ones here have a dip out of them. So they go at this end, so the barrel of the tender clears them. They're pretty close. Sometimes you have to take a little millimetre out of the ends here, but other than that they're not bad. So you're only talking like a very small nick out of that bit there. So probably about maybe the width of the file head just off that bit there to clear the round bit of the bottom of that. So it's not too bad, it's pretty accurate. Oh, right, so we'll close it off here guys. It's 35 minutes long, I think that's alright for the first one. And we'll see you here for the second video when we finish off this tender. So that'll probably be next week or the week after. Right, cheers guys.